Welcome to this session, which is an early playtest of The Working Dead. Darren, who you can see there, is the creator of the game, and he also has a site called IpsoDeckso.com, and I believe that this game is developed for a platform for IpsoDeckso. Is that right? That
yeah, essentially. So, and I did just see a note pop up on the chat saying that somebody's tried to access it. It's not live yet. That's why you can't access it. So it's all kind of being tested and still under development at the moment. But it is at a stage where we can use it.
Cool. So Darren's going to demonstrate. We're going to play the game this afternoon, and we'd love to get loads and loads of really juicy feedback, because, as I say, it's an early play test. Really juicy feedback, both on the game itself and also on the utility of the platform. If you have so Darren's going to be driving it all, so he won't have time to make detailed notes. So probably the best way for us to go about gathering all of that juicy data from you guys, other than sort of questions at the end, would be if you have anything that you want, any comment you want to make, either say it out loud with your outside voice so we can all hear it and it ends up on the recording, or stick it in the chat, and that way there will be a permanent record at the end that Darren can use to harvest everybody's opinions and thoughts at the end of the meeting. Is that okay with everyone? Is everybody okay? Is everybody okay with being recorded? I mean, you're probably told as you came in that you're being recorded. So if you're in witness protection or anything like that, turn off your camera now and change your name, I would suggest. Okay.
Should have thought of this before.
Yeah, or disguise yourself as Frank Zappa, one or the other. Yeah. Okay, righto. So I will, with no more ado, I will hand over to Darren. He's going to so I will hand back the hosting to you, Darren, so that you're able to do everything.
Thank you. And if anybody else turns up, I'll just admit them and say hello to them as they come.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for that fab intro, Sarah. I like the term.
I think you can probably make me a co-host now you're the host. That's probably the best way, and then I can let people in.
Oh, how do I do that?
So just next to my name, if you go
three dots.
Yeah. And it should
make co-host. There we go.
There you
do you want to make Sarah your co-host?
Yes, you do. And then I can do all of the technical co-host stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. So off we go.
So I'll start. So thanks everyone for coming along. So as Sarah said, it's kind of a test of the system as well as a test of the game. And this game is a real stretch of the system, because the system has been designed really as for kind of training sessions and coaching cards, and I've kind of pushed it as far as I can possibly push it, I think, with this game. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And I would ask that when we're playing, if we can all knock our cameras off, just so that we can kind of help with the bandwidth, because it might create a bit of lag on the cards. But hopefully you'll get used to whatever bandwidth we've got as we go along. I'm still waiting for them to upgrade my fiber optic thing. I've got a new router through today, but apparently it takes about 24 hours to actually speed it up. So I think what we're going to do is, because it's a maximum of a 6-player game, I've created a kind of a little card deck, which is a kind of player selector card deck, just for us to do to find out who's going to actually play. And then after that, I would say anybody who's not playing, when the puzzles come up, please do get involved and throw your thoughts in on the puzzles. And if when people are playing, you think, well, actually, there's an action you could have done there, or something you could have done from a team perspective working together that you didn't, just kind of throw it in. And so don't be afraid to just chuck it in there, and we'll just muddle through and see how we get on. So we're all good with that.
Yeah. So is it that later on that there will be that kind of team playing functionality, and you just want to kind of get people to do that?
Yeah, so when people are playing, it's not always obvious how you can actually help each other.
Right.
So sometimes it might be, what I'll try and do, because there are quite a few rules, and I'll give you some at the start, but I'll give you more as we go along, so I'm not talking forever at the start. So let me first start by doing a share screen. I'm having issues trying to get rid of my, the banner at the bottom of your screen. I'm just going to find a way to hide it. Sorry about this. Usually it just disappears. All right, let me find the share screen button and see if it disappears when I do that. So I'm going to start by pulling up this temporary card deck. And if somebody can just give me a shout when they can see it, that would be awesome.
We can see it, Darren.
Brilliant. Okay, and I'm just going to try and find a way to close off my camera. Oh, I'll do that afterwards, actually. We'll do this first and we'll see if it impacts the bandwidth. So I've got a little card deck here. Is anyone able to see how many people we've got in the room other than me? Is it 9 participants? So there's 8 people? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to discard some of these then. See, I can't even see my buttons at the bottom at the moment, so it's quite frustrating.
You can hit the F11 button, and it will. We also will not have to look at all the other bookmarks.
Yeah, I don't really want to see that. What if I do?
Just click F11.
Oh.
Wait, you're all that? Yeah, it's the same function.
Fabulous. Okay, brilliant. So I'm just going to get rid of some of these because I've got 30 cards in this deck, and actually we only need 8. So I'm just going to get rid of some of them. So we need. Oh, I've got to get rid of 22. I'm just. Sorry about this, guys. Actually, no, I'm not going to do this. We've only got 8 people. I can just pair 2 of you up, can't we? It's probably a better way.
We could just ignore the other 22 cards, can't we, rather than have to get rid of them?
Yeah, let me get. I'm going to get rid of this altogether and go straight into the game, and I'm just going to pair a couple of people up because we haven't got a ridiculous amount of people, so it's all good to be able to do that. So I'm just going to come back out of this. I'm going to look at the participant list and see who we've got. So are you playing, Sarah?
I can do if you want me to.
Yeah, cool. So shall I?
I don't want to do anybody else that's playing though. So maybe I'll just be technical host, unless you haven't got enough volunteers.
Okay. So Antonio, are you okay to play?
Yeah, sure.
Well, actually, if I just ask questions, does anybody not want to play first off and just want to watch?
I would prefer to see, not to play. If possible, Darren, this is Rodrigo.
To see them to play? And
yes.
So Rodrigo.
Yeah, just to observe.
Okay, so you'll just watch and join him like with the puzzles and stuff. Okay,
exactly.
So that leaves. Well, once we've got this bit sorted, we'll be able to kind of flow a little bit then. So Antonio and Abhishek, Ajit, Nurhan, Ray, and Saeed. I mean, it's not 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that 6? I think so. Yeah. Are we happy with that 6? That's me. Yeah, that's 6. Right. I'm going to go then.
That's your ideal number, isn't it?
6. Yeah, I'm going to go into it.
When do we need to turn off the cameras?
Yeah, if we turn the cameras off now, it might help with the bandwidth. I'm going to try and figure out how to turn mine off. I think I've turned mine off as well. So I'm just going to pull up the game. So sorry about this faffing around at the start. I'm just going to go into it now. It just takes a little bit of time just to pass the data across and open up the card deck. So if you'll just bear with me. And can you all see that? Can anybody not see that? There should be 4 card decks up the right-hand side with a card table in front of you with the buttons at the bottom.
Yeah, I can see.
Cool. Yes. Okay. Right, let's start with, first of all, I'm just going to start setting the game up. So if you'll just allow me to do that, this just takes not a great deal of time. Just going to get some of these cards out. I'll just throw them over here. So these that I'm pulling out now, these are the locations that your characters will actually be going into where we're playing the game. So this will kind of move you around the game. And am I the only one that can see the bits at the top that says you're sharing screen, participants and all that? Or is it blocking the cards off for you as well?
Yeah, that's on you only.
Okay, good. Brilliant. So you can see the tops of those cards with the key
Yes,
and the
yes,
love.
yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, fab. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull out these player cards, and I'm going to ask each of you to tell me which player you'd like to be, and just sort of tell me your name as well, just so I can write down, because I'll need to know to be able to kind of keep track. So if you just call out when you see a player that you want to be, and then I'll just allocate that player to you, because I'm going to set players up in a row at the bottom. So any preferences there, peoples?
Ray
I
wants to
want-
be Hugo.
Was that
I
Ray?
want to be Gwen.
So was that Ray Hugo? Was that
Yep.
Ray is Hugo?
I can play Layla.
Who's Layla?
Antonios.
Yeah, that's me, Antonis.
Antonios is
And
Layla.
Norhan said Gwen.
So Norhan is Gwen.
And Ajit wanted Mike.
Ajit.
So I think just me. I'll be Rishi in that case.
And what was that one? Sorry.
Abhishek says he'll be Rishi.
So Abhishek is Rishi.
Oh, I think. Oh no, I'm sorry. Somebody else also said Rishi. I'm sorry.
I
think
check
Said-
whatever is left over, no problem.
Oh, okay.
No,
No, it's
Rishi.
okay. It's okay.
Oh, Rishi.
I didn't notice. I didn't see a chat. I'm sorry.
So, what was the last name? I haven't got the list of names in front of me for Ellie. Who's Ellie?
Okay, I can be Ali. It's fine. I mean, I think Said already said it's Rishi, so it's fine. I can be Ali.
Oh, who was that? Who's talking now?
It's Abhishek. Abhishek.
Abhishek.
Yes, I can be Ali. I can be Ali
Abhishek.
because already Said mentioned he wants to be Rishi. So I think I didn't see that chat. I'll be Ali. I'll be Ali.
Okay, so let me just change that to Saeed is Rishi and Abhishek is Ellie. I just had to write that down and keep track because I'll be flicking control over to you as we go along. So I'll just pop these into, let's just do in a random order.
Hi, just going to say hello to Mo because he's just joined. Hi, Mo. We're just allocating 6 players at
Sarah.
the moment. I'm
How are
afraid
you?
I'm fine. I'm afraid you've joined too late to be a player, but it's fine because you just
No, it's fine.
the players are just drivers, really. Everybody can play.
Yeah, everybody can help with the puzzles and everybody can make suggestions of what players can do. And things. So just whenever anyone's doing anything, just feel free to throw in suggestions. So along the bottom now, I've got your card stashes. So this is where you'll place any object cards or guns that you claim as we go through the course of the game. I'm just going to pull these out. So these are your kind of starting cards. So let me just get all these into place and flip these over. So it just says on the back of these cards, the concept of the game is that we're in a place called Slaughtervale Manor, and you're on a kind of work away day, and it's the end of that work away day, and you've just gone to your rooms for the evening, and you've heard this commotion downstairs, and you're all about to go down and start trying to figure out kind of what the commotion is. So that's why all of the locations at the top of the screen are downstairs locations, and it would also be an absolute nightmare if I had to put all your different bedrooms and things in there as well. So
Sounds enticing.
it made sense for it to be, because it's about working with the room that I've got with the game. Eventually I'll have the ability to kind of zoom the card sizes up and down as well, which will help, but at the moment we don't have that ability. I apologize that the setup takes a little while, but we will be up and running in a second. I'll explain all the cards in a second as well. I've got some quick start intro cards that I'm going to run through with you in just a moment, because it just helps remind me to kind of give you some of the rules too. So we're almost there. Sarah's probably already got a note somewhere saying the setup takes a bit too long. Okay, so just to familiarize you with the system, when you want to select a particular card to stack, all you have to do is select the stack bar and it will expand it, or you can retract it but still be able to use it. You can actually pull cards off of a stack without even selecting it if you're actually pulling it over onto the tabletop, which I'm not going to do with that. I'll just let it go back in there because I don't want to screw the game up. You can shuffle stacks, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. There's a button at the bottom that shows you how to do that, but I don't want to mess the stacks up just for a moment. Actually, I can do it on this one, so it doesn't matter. So you can select the stack, you can give it a shuffle. So that's how you shuffle. You can, I'll show you how to discard shortly when it comes to discarding a card. So the top stack here, actually, I'll go through the intro, I'll do it properly. Intro card 1. You can tell this is the first time I've properly explained the game to people. So I've already said about this one, it's day 1, you're at Slaughter Vale Manor, you're all relaxing, you hear the ruckus downstairs. So you see that card has got a blue square around it, that means it's currently selected. So I can discard it, get rid of the card, pull the next intro card out. To your horror, you find the manor staff are now a crazed horde of flesh-eating zombies. The phone networks are down. You've all got mobile phones, by the way, we'll just assume that. Phone networks are down, the power's out, it's dark, and all the exits are locked for the night. There's 8 of these. To avoid joining the ranks of the undead, you all need to escape from the manor. So you'll need to work together to solve puzzles, find critical objects, and kill zombies. Zombies have a 1 to 4 strength rating. So I'll just show you one here, just so you can see. That should be a zombie. So that's got a strength rating of 4. So you would need a gun with a strength rating of 4, for example, this one, to be able to kill that zombie, or a combination of guns to be able to kill it. So you basically, your weapons must match the strength rating of the zombie to kill it. We're almost there, guys. Can you hear me okay, by the way? I haven't got my microphone on, I just realised.
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Yes,
Puzzle
crystal clear.
stack 2. So stack 2, it's got puzzles in it. And the puzzles will reveal 4-digit number codes which relate to cards in stack 3. So just to show you stack 3 here, there are objects in here with 4-digit number codes on. And you'll need to solve the puzzles to be able to access those cards. For the Manor Guide, which you can see on the top, and for the Wi-Fi, which is just beyond the Manor Guide, I'll just show you here. The Wi-Fi card. You don't need any puzzles from stack 2. You essentially just need to find the rooms, and you'll see these little symbols at the top that kind of guide us as to how you access the cards. For this one you would need to be in the lobby to be able to unlock the card and bring it over into your stash. But to be able to flip cards over, you need to satisfy the symbols at the bottom. For example, this card here, the Manor Guide, says you need a torch to be able to flip it over and look at it. If we look at something else, the key, you would need to be able to locate a star and have a torch to be able to flip it over and look at it. So the symbols are absolutely critical to be able to pull cards out using a puzzle from stack 2, or information cards from stack 2, or some other form, but it will tell you on the tops of the cards. Yeah, that's that one. We're almost there. I'm just harping on too long, I think. So symbols at the base of the cards I've already said about. The guide will show you the way. The location stack will determine which rooms you visit. We're almost there. So on your turn, what you'll need to do is shuffle this stack. Whatever comes up from this stack will tell you where to place your player cards, which I'll pull out in just a moment. And then you'll shuffle stack 2 and pull a card off and flip it, and that card will either be a zombie that's going to come to your room and attack you. It could be a weapon, like it could be a gun, it could be a puzzle to solve, or an information card. So you do stack 2, and then you do any player actions that follow that. So that will kind of lead you naturally into it. So you do stack 1, stack 2, and then potentially stack 3, or any other kind of actions that come up. So just pull over the start card, and then we're up and running. So first to the lobby or the bar gets a Manor Guide. The symbols, as I said earlier, you would match. So that's a lobby, that one's a lobby. There are up to 6 Manor Guides, but there's only one that will be an active Manor Guide when you actually sort of pull it over. It just creates the opportunity for 6 different games essentially. But to be able to read that mana guide, to flip it over and unlock it, you need a torch to be able to flip it. There's 1 active guide per game. The active guide flip. That's all we need from that. The really important thing here is use the mana guide to get the Wi-Fi up and running. When the Wi-Fi is up and running, it really starts to open up the kind of team actions. So critical at the start to get a mana guide and get the Wi-Fi. And I've been banging on for far too long now. So I'm just going to get your player cards out. And these are the cards that you'll use to actually move to the different locations that can kind of show where you are as we go through the course of the game. Layla, Mike, Ellie. You'll get used to the sort of control mechanism. Basically, you select, you hold down, you drag it across. When the box lights up, you let go. It appears on the bottom right hand side, and you just kind of drag it across. And Gwen, the little circles on the top of the card to show you how to flip them. So just flip that one with a circle. That's a dead player, by the way. You become a zombie. I'll explain that as we go. But let's crack on with the game and make a start, and I'll just kind of give you more of the rules as we go along. So I'm going to start. We'll go along order of play, just from left to right. So we'll start with Hugo, which is Ray. So I'm going to remote control. Select Ray. So you got control now, Ray. So it's a case of shuffle stack 1. And that will determine where your player goes. So it's already highlighted on the stack bar, so you know that's the live stack. You come down to the bottom of the screen and hit the shuffle button. That's
Got it.
So basically, your player's getting sent to the lobby, and you'll see at the bottom of the card immediately there's a zombie in there. So you move your Hugo card over to the lobby at the top, also on the tabletop. So we place Hugo over the lobby. That's it. Sometimes it will help here to read the word lobby just for other players, because you'll be there for the sort of circuit of play. So we know there's already a zombie in there with a strength 2, so you're going to have to battle that one.
So
and now you go
can you just check in the chat? I think Said cannot see the screen. It's mentioned in the chat.
Who can't see? Said can't see the screen.
I can't see the screen. I was just wondering if any link was shared to access the board, or
there's not, but sometimes one thing I have found in Zoom is if you can't see the screen, if you go out and come back in,
I can see the screen perfectly. That's not the point.
Saeed, you should be able to manipulate it from the window in Zoom. It's not like a separate thing like Miro. You should be able to do it from within here. You should be able to get hold of the
everybody
cards.
should be able to see this straight away.
Okay.
So
It's not the seeing it, Darren. He didn't realise that he was manipulating the cards from within the screen he could see.
Oh, I'm with you. Okay,
Yeah.
So are you okay now, Saeed?
But I can still manipulate anything.
You can manipulate anything that's on the screen in front of you, yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so if we go back to Ray then, so you'll cut, this will start speeding up in a minute. So you've done the first stack. So what you need to do now is shuffle stack 2. So you select the stack bar. So that's it. And then give it a good shuffle, maybe hit it 2 or 3 times just to really mess them up on the first go. If you hit the stack bar again, it'll just condense them back up so they're not shooting across the screen. And then you can just pull a card off the top onto the tabletop. So if you drag it across, when it lights up, keep dragging, then you let go. That's it. So you've got the card, you've already got the card. So we've got 2 cards now. Pull it back across to the right, don't let go. Pull it back. That's it, let go now. And that will leave that one on the stack. And then come back down to the one you've put onto the tabletop and drag that card over into the middle of the screen somewhere and flip it over. You'll all get used to this after you've had a couple of goes. So flip the circle, hit the circle, and it'll flip the card. And you've got a gun. Now, there are some rules with guns. In your card stash, you're allowed to have up to 5 cards, but within those 5 cards, you can only hold 2 guns. And then any of the other cards will probably be special object cards that you get from stack 3. So in Hugo's case here, for example, you've got a gun for 4 and a gun for 2. So my advice would be get rid of the gun for 2. So select the gun for 2, discard it, and take the gun for 3. And then it's basically any player actions. So you know that you've got a zombie for 2 in there already at the moment. Once you're sharing rooms with players, and if they've got weaker guns than you, you could potentially give that gun to another player. And it works the same way with special objects. You can pass special objects to other players as well. So I'll start giving you more of the rules as we go along, as things kind of come up. But Ray, for you, you have to battle that zombie for 2. So it's probably not going to matter because you're going to have to use the gun for 3 anyway. So it's a case of discard the gun, and you know you've killed that particular zombie. There's zombies can come from stack 1 or stack 2, essentially. So you've got a blue box around that 1 for 2. You just come down to the bottom and click discard, and it gets rid of it. But also you would have to discard that one because you can only hold 2 guns, and you've just effectively you've got rid of the 1 for 2, but you're going to have to shoot that zombie anyway, and it's in your room. Does that make sense?
So, Darren, I'm not sure I understand. So I expended the card, the gun card that had 2, which then kills that zombie in the lobby. But so this gun card that I just drew for 3, why would I not then be able to add that to my hand?
Okay, I've just explained it really badly, so let me explain it again. So in your stash, you can hold up to 2 guns. So when you pull a gun off of stack 2, you would replace any weaker guns first before you fight any zombies. So in this particular case, you would have probably discarded your gun that had 2 bullets and kept the gun that had 3 bullets. And then out of those 2 remaining guns, you would need to use one of them to kill that zombie. In this particular case, your weakest gun is now a gun with 3 bullets, so you would kill that zombie that's got a strength of 2. So effectively, you've got to use up that gun. Does that make sense?
So if effectively what you're saying is when you draw a card, it goes, even if you use it straight away, it has gone into your stash before being used. Right.
You draw a card, you place it in your stash, you get rid of the card if you have to make space in your stash. Then you use the cards to take any actions like killing zombies. Yeah.
So even if you never actually physically place it in your stash, it's gone into your stash by being drawn.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. And to make space, you would have had to get rid of the one with 2 bullets.
I see. Could I just ask another question? Where's this zombie?
Okay. Zombies, because you see in the lobby, top right, it says there that automatically, card automatically placed a zombie for 2 in the room.
I see.
You can also pull zombies off of stack 3 if you're unlucky, and a lot of you will be unlucky as we go through the course. The zombies can come from 2 places, essentially. I just haven't explained it very well because I'm new to this explaining games. So that gun for 3 is effectively the gun that you need to use to kill that zombie. As we go through the course of the game, you'll start being able to kind of get other people to help you use with their guns and things like that. But ultimately, you've got 1 gun left now because that one needs to be discarded.
Okay. So I've got it selected and I just hit discard in order to be able to actually use it.
So yeah, so you've discarded the gun, discard the card, bang. But there's another action that you can take on this whilst you're in this particular room. If you remember, I explained earlier about the symbols on the cards. So if you click stack 3, so you see there's a scroll bar on the far right. You can actually scroll down a little bit just so you can see all of that. If you click stack 3, and then they kind of fan out, the first 6 cards on there are all mana guides. 3 of them have got a lobby symbol on, and 3 of them have got a bar symbol on, and you're actually in the lobby at the moment. So you're already in a place where you can claim one of the mana guides. It's just whichever one you want that has the lobby symbol on, which has got the chair. It's got the chair on the
chair. I couldn't remember what the lobby symbol was.
Yeah, so upon stack 1, you've got still got the lobby card there, essentially, which has got the chair that matches. So
I see the symbols at the top of the card. Okay, sorry, I was having trouble picking out where the actual symbol was. I got it now.
Yeah, it just takes a bit of getting used to. So then so whichever one you've got that's got a chair, any of the 3 that's got a chair on, you can just drag that onto the tabletop. And then that becomes wherever you let go, it's going to drop to the bottom right of the tabletop. So if you let go there, You'll just drop to the bottom right, condense that stack back up just to get it out of the way. And then that card, you can't flip it yet until you satisfy the symbols at the bottom, but you can drag that card over now and put it on your player stash. So you've effectively unlocked the card. So you see the symbols at the top, it says it's got lobby symbol to unlock. So you've unlocked it from the stack, but to access it, you need a torch to be able to actually flip it over and look at it. And at the moment, the only player that has a torch is Mike, which when we get to Mike's go, Mike can have a look at that card and see what it says. So that's your action for that particular go, and then it moves on to the next player. So I'm just going to change. We will start to speed up when we get used to this. So I'm just going to change remote control over to Antonio now. Antonio, I've just handed control over to you. So if you scroll back up on the far right so you can access stack 1. Was it Antonio? Oh no, we've actually got Ellie. I've put them in a different order, haven't I? Sorry, Antonio, I'm going to change this because it's Ellie. I put them in a different order. So don't do anything. Remote control and Abhishek. There we go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We're on Ellie, so it's your go and you've got control now. So you select stack 1.
Okay.
So using the stack bar, and then you come down to shuffle and shuffle the stack.
Okay.
Okay, so on here we've got kitchen, and you'll see at the bottom of this card there's a player symbol and 2 locator pins either side. That means that you could either go in the kitchen, or you could actually choose to go up to 2 spaces to the left of the kitchen or 2 spaces to the right of the kitchen. So it just gives the player a bit more flexibility to be able to move around. I mean, it's quite early in the game, so there's probably not as much benefit to going to different locations. But sometimes
what would there be in the right or the left? What is there? Like, what would there be? Is it like a different room, or is it like the same thing?
Okay, so when you move your player Ellie, your card, up to the kitchen, then looking at the locator pin, you see it's got those 2 locator pins at the bottom of the card.
Yes.
It says those locations means you can either move 2 to the left or 2 to the right, or 1 to the left or 1 to the right, but it gives you a maximum of being able to move up to 2 either way. Because you're in the kitchen, that means you could move all the way to the bar if you wanted to, or you could go in the dining room, or you could go in the lobby with Hugo. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense, yes.
So it's just a case of moving your Ellie card to whichever room you want to go in.
Okay, so I would like to I'd like to go to the kitchen only.
Yep. So you just move Ellie to the kitchen.
May I ask, so the kitchen is the second card at the top. If I go 2 to the left, would I land on the toilet, or is the maximum the lobby?
It'd be maximum to the lobby.
Okay.
Brilliant. And then basically stack 2, you can either pull the top card off because it's already been shuffled, or you can select it and give it a shuffle. It's entirely up to you.
Can I select any card, or is it I have to say the top card?
To be honest with you, it doesn't really matter. You can pull a card out from anywhere if you want. But I'm just thinking, if you were playing a card game in a room, you'd probably pull the top card off, wouldn't you?
Okay. I'll just play the top card then.
Yeah. So, and as soon as it lights up, when you put it across to the left, as soon as it lights up, you know you can let go and drop onto the tabletop.
Yeah. So I'll just it's not lighting up. I'm trying to pull it.
So it's just a case. Hold on to it, drag it across. We might be having a bandwidth problem. There we go. It's lit up. Let go, and then that's it. So
yeah. No, I think it can. Yeah.
So you just move that card to somewhere where you can see it better. Unfortunately, on the platform, we haven't got as much space as we would like.
No issues. Yes, I can see it later now. Yes.
And then just flip the card. Okay. So that puts a zombie for 3 in your room. So that zombie, you would drag it over to your room.
So so I will.
Yep. Take it over and place it with Ellie. So that zombie is now in the room.
So
and you've basically got, at the moment, there's not a lot of options at the moment because not a lot
use the gun.
Ability. So you use one of your guns to kill it. Yeah. So you kill it, discard the gun, and discard the zombie.
Okay. Okay.
Brilliant. Okay. And then we move on to that's the only actions I think you can take at the moment.
Yes.
Because you haven't really got any nothing else that you can actually do. So we will now move on to the next player.
Sorry.
You can
So-
feel free to have a look through the fronts of those cards in stack 3 whenever anybody's got control, because it makes sense to look at them and look at the symbols and things on them.
So I was just about to ask that. Does it kind of require for you to have a little bit of a knowledge of what the symbols are on the cards, so that you can?
Yeah. So
you kind of need to rifle through the cards.
yeah. So you can rifle through and look at the tops of the cards, because then you can
Right.
think, well, what do I need to be able to unlock a torch, for example?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's a puzzle, and I would need to look at the stuff on the bottom. So once the mana guide comes into play, and you can actually see what is where and things like that, you'll start being able to compare symbols more as well that way.
Okay.
So the symbols are really, really important to the gameplay.
Okay. So am I right in thinking? I'm probably maybe a bit spoilers here. Am I right in thinking that before you get the mana guide, you actually have to go and have a look through the cards to work out? So, for example, if I'm in the dining room, what can being in the dining room allow me to do from stack 3? But once I get the mana guide, I will have something that gives me that information on a single card.
Correct.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So there's
makes
useful
sense.
information on the mana guide, and as I said earlier at the start of the game, getting that mana guide up and running and flipping it over, and then getting the Wi-Fi into play is crucial with this game, because if you don't do that, you're all going to end up dead quite quickly.
It's always a good thing to get the Wi-Fi working, isn't it?
So whose go were we on? What were we in the middle of doing? Did I need to switch to another player now? Or had somebody just had a go? Where did we get to?
So Ellie's just finished.
So Ella's just finished.
Yeah.
And now we're moving on to Layla, which is Antonia. So Antonia, I'm just going to give you control. And it lets me. Okay, you've now got control, Antonia.
Let's see.
That's it. Stack 2, select the stack bar.
Yeah, I can confirm I have control.
Just have a look. If you want to have a nose through stack 3, that's all good.
Okay.
And then obviously feel free to chat to each other about the cards and what you think you might need to do, because ultimately what you're trying to do is escape with as many lives intact from this mana house. So just figuring out what you need to do as a group to get out. So you can expand the stack by clicking the stack bar.
Okay.
And then you can fan through them and have a look. Or you can select the top card and then click next, and it just kind of goes through them one by one, if you wanted to do it that way.
Oh.
So if you click next,
Just like this.
it sends it to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It should just go again if you wanted to.
Are all the mana guides the same in terms of how you unlock them?
They're the same in terms, thing is you only need one, and you've already got
Yeah.
one unlocked. But once you've flipped the one that's on screen, there is a rule that says you can flip all the others, which can expose some useful information as well. But I was going to give you that information when somebody flips it.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess what I was getting at is you only need the one, you only need to sort of get one out, because if they, yeah, because if they all unlock in the same way, there's no benefit in having another mana guide which might unlock in a different way. So I'm not explaining that very well. So let's say that one mana guide you needed a torch to unlock it, and another you needed I don't know, a magnifying glass. Then there might be a benefit in having one of each of those, so that when you got the magnifying glass you could unlock. But they're all the same in terms of how they unlock.
They're all the same in terms of how you get the card out and how you would flip the card over. The information on the other side of the cards is different. So different mana guides effectively creates a
different game.
But there's also information on the non-active mana guide. So basically, once we flip one on the tabletop, that becomes the active guide you'll all be using. But there is useful information to be able to compare on the other ones. So once you flip the main one that you're using, you're also allowed to flip the other 5 on the stack and keep them on the stack, but you can flip and kind of compare. But I was going to give that information when it happened.
Okay, I think Norhan had a question about turning on the Wi-Fi and what's meant by that.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, Norhan.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just confused. I know I need to kill the zombies.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Yes, I don't know how to win.
Okay,
Just
so
to keep playing until all the
Yeah, what's the ultimate purpose of the game?
the ultimate
goal.
purpose of the game is to escape from the manor with as many lives intact as possible. So that's the ultimate purpose. And what we need to do is unlock the manor guide so that we can start figuring out the problem of escaping from the manor. And in order to bring lots of team play into action, we need to unlock the Wi-Fi, because once the Wi-Fi is unlocked, it means players can speak to each other from room to room and be able to act on map information.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why the Wi-Fi is so crucial, because once you're able to talk to players in other rooms, it means you can call the map holder and say, well, which room is this in? And start unlocking other things that can ultimately unlock the game. I mean, if you look at the location cards on the tabletop, you'll see at the top of them, it's got a key symbol and an arrow. So basically, when you get a key that can unlock an exit, you can flip those to be able to actually find the way out of the manor. But it's getting there first that's the difficult part, and getting those keys.
I have another question about the lives. Do we gain the lives while playing, or we already have the lives?
You already have the lives, did you say?
Yes, lives. We said I need to keep a high number of lives.
Yep. So from a lives perspective, once you get killed, you get killed. So when I say about getting as many lives out as possible, I mean the 6 players. So how many of our 6 players can we get out alive? And how many will actually get turned into zombies and start killing the other players? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I've just explained things really badly. So I need to make sure that I create some clearer rules for me to just read through in future, I think. So yeah, escape from the manor and try to stay alive in doing so, just to get as many players out as possible. And we get out through exits that are within those rooms that are on the tabletop at the top. But to get out,
I don't think you need to apologise, Darren. That's what this session's for, isn't it? So that you can see where the confusions arise and what people need to have explained.
Yeah.
Abhishek, I had a question.
Yeah, fire away.
Yeah, so basically, from what I'm understanding, this is a cooperative game between the team members, right?
Correct. Yes.
Right. So when does the cooperation process start, or how do we cooperate?
Okay, so when you share a room with another player, you can start sharing weapons. So basically, zombies come into the rooms. If you're in the same room as another player, you can help each other to fight the zombies. You can give objects to each other when you're in the room. You can talk to each other about map information when you're in the room with the map holder. So it's, some of the special objects you have start to bring this kind of team play into play. I was going to start dropping some of that in as we kind of go along and things happen, just to kind of make you aware of it.
I think that makes it clearer. That makes what you said now makes it clearer. So I wasn't aware more than one person could be in the same room. That's why I had selected that. So but then now it looks a little bit clearer. So thank you. Yes, much clearer.
When it gets to Mike's go as well, Mike, I would advise you have a look at your torch, because there's some useful information on there, and we can explain what the torch is all about as well. So Mike, who was Mike? That was Ajit. Yeah.
Yes.
So whose go were we on now?
Layla's turn.
We were on Layla. So you were in the middle of you were about to start your turn, weren't you?
Yeah, although I'm still not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do. I flipped a manor guide card, and I can see the map.
Yeah, so that one at the moment we're not supposed to flip yet, because we haven't flipped the main manor guide on the tabletop. So it doesn't matter though if you've seen it. Gives you an idea of what's on the other side. So are you about to start your go? I can't remember where we got to.
Right. So if you're not far, because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do.
Right. Go up to the top. So get the scroll bar up to the top. Click stack 1.
Stack 1. All right.
And then shuffle.
Okay.
So shuffle stack 1, and then that sends your player to the dining room. Now, you will see those locator pins at the bottom, but that only relates to dead players, not a living player. So this player has to go to the dining room. I would suggest, guys, when you're putting your cards at the top, you can still see the names of the rooms. Otherwise, if another player has to go there, they won't be able to see it. So just bring it down a little bit just so you can see the room names.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. So once you've got your room selected, then it's stack 2, and you either pull the top card off or a card from somewhere, or give it a shuffle if you want to shuffle it again.
Okay.
If you want to condense the stack up, just click the stack bar again. It just tidies it up and condenses it up. I am going to get the developer to switch that around. So cards, so packs are actually condensed up first, and then you can file them out deliberately. At the moment, I think it's the wrong way around. So you grab the card, so that card basically drag it over onto the tabletop. So click down on the card and then just pull across whilst you're clicked down on the card. We got a bit of a lag going on.
Yes. So what am I supposed to do with this card now?
Yeah, so pull it across to the left until it lights up. Once you need to find a bit of space, otherwise it won't light up. So a space where there's not a card. So just, yeah, there we go. Let go. And then it'll drop to the bottom. Then you can just drag it anywhere on the tabletop.
Uh-huh.
And then you can read that out. So anyone can read that out if you want to read it out to the group.
Right. Where in a room which hides them, grab yourself a key, but satisfy the symbols to flip the card and see. Okay. Nice rhyme. Discard when your key is slashed. Slashed?
Dashed.
Dashed. Yeah.
Dashed. So when you've eventually got the key and it's in your stash pile, that's when you discard this card. So if you're unable to access a key at the moment, which you're not because you can't see the map and you don't know where they are, then you just keep that card in your stash pile for now until you're able to access one of the keys. So that card gives you the right to gain a key a bit later on once you actually can find where the keys are.
Uh-huh.
So put the key in your stash pile.
When a stash key is flipped, you may flip any keys with matching symbols on the all right, and the symbols from what I saw on the map correlate to the locations.
Yeah.
So what do I do with this card now?
Put it on your stash pile.
And my stash pile is what?
With where your 2 guns are.
Ah,
so
okay.
that's your player stash area. So you just drop it on there.
So, all right, I'm here. Okay.
Okay. So whenever you have a go, you do stack 1, you do stack 2, then you think, are there any other player actions? At the moment, there are not so many because we're too early into the game. But when things start happening, then there are often more player actions that you can actually do. So you've got no zombies to fight at the moment, and that is essentially go over on that one. So that's that go done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just change remote control over to the next player. I'm going to play being Mike, and Mike is Ajay.
Yes. And I will just click on stack 1.
Okay, so I've given you control. So let's click on the stack 1 bar. Give it a shuffle. So down the bottom for the shuffle button. No, wrong one. So
okay.
Stack 2, sorry. Select it towards. That's it. You've got it. So give it a. I think we've got a bit of a lag going on with my. Yeah, it's just come up telling me my internet connection's unstable. And then so your player would go. You would take your player card that says Mike on it, and you would move that to the toilets, or because you've got the player symbol at the bottom with the locators either side, you could actually choose a room either side of the toilets. And the toilets on the far right, which means you could either use the gym or the toilets and place Mike in there.
So can I place him in the bar?
No, because you can only move one location to the left or one location to the right based on those symbols at the bottom.
Oh, okay. So I can move to the gym or to the lobby if I wanted, right?
You can't go round in the circle to the lobby, so you can go to the toilets or the gym. What do you guys think about that? Do you think I should give the option that you can go round to the far end as well?
Would make sense.
Yeah, that feels intuitive. It feels like there's a wrap round.
Yeah, let's
because
do that.
The toilet is always on the far right, so it doesn't make any sense to tell a player he can go to the right when there's no possibility to go to the right.
So are you saying yes, we should do the wraparound so you can go to the lobby?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. We'll do that from now. So if you've got that option, you could go to the lobby if you wanted to.
But in this game, would it make sense for me to go to the lobby so I can be with Hugo, or would it make sense for me to just stay in this toilet for now?
So what does everybody think?
I think that you've got a torch and he's got a mana guide. So yes, you want to be in the same room as him.
I think the same.
Okay.
All right. So basically, you're now sharing that room. I know the space is a bit of a premium on this, so sometimes I try and just condense the cards up a bit, just to, especially when we start getting more zombies and things coming out. But yeah, so now you two are sharing a room. So you're already thinking, well, now we're sharing a room. What player actions are there that we could do? And also, if a zombie comes up, you know, if I'm going to be struggling, Hugo might be able to help me. So it's probably worth, before you go on to stack 2, I'll just call you Mike because I just keep losing. It's easier for me to just call by the player name. It's probably worth looking on your player stash as well and just looking at your torch and just understanding what the torches are all about.
I'm sorry, where is the torch?
So on your player stash area, underneath your gun, there's a torch. If you grab the torch,
Oh, this one. Oh, okay, okay.
if you give it a wiggle, it'll pop up on top of the gun. Just so that people are aware on the torches. So you use the torches in the dark to be able to see certain objects. The torch helps you to find the way. So if a player calls you from another room when the Wi-Fi is activated, if you've got a torch, it means you can get to them immediately. And the torch unlocks
that's
the
great.
map. So yeah, the torch unlocks the map and lets the holder or a Wi-Fi caller be able to reject up to 2 locations per go. So basically, once you've got eyes on the map, on that stack bar at the start of your goes, when you click shuffle, you could do that up to 3 times if you've got eyes on the map. And eyes on the map could mean just phoning the map holder and being able to access it. So this is why the Wi-Fi becomes really important.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't got Wi-Fi, if you're in the same room as the map holder, you can still see the map, which means you'd be able to actually do an extra 2 spins on the location stack if you wanted to. So the torches are useful. So yeah, so you can either do the stack 2 action now if you want, or if you want to flip the mana guide and talk about that, it's entirely up to you.
So just to maybe I'm being a bit pernickety here about sort of the process of zombie killing. But if you're in a different room from the map holder, but you have Wi-Fi, you've got a torch, they've got a map, you're somehow sending light via Wi-Fi so they can read the map.
I hadn't thought of that. So to keep it simple, if you're in the same room as somebody who's got a torch, you can access their torch light.
Yeah.
If somebody is in another room and Wi-Fi is active, you can call them and they can come running because you're in a dark hotel and they're going to bump into the walls if they haven't got a torch. So they're going to hit into the walls without it. So if you want something to come to you instantly, you need Wi-Fi and they need to have a torch.
Yeah.
Torches can be gained through solving things on stack 2.
Yeah. 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 It's just that you said that once you've got Wi-Fi, if you've got the torch and if you've got eyes on the map, and that includes being in contact via Wi-Fi from somebody who has the map. But if they don't have a torch.
Yeah, this was a thing that I did consider at the start when I was creating it. Do I need to, what do you think about this? Do you think the map holder has to have that torch?
I think there needs to be a torch in the same room. I don't think you can. It
because
feels.
What that ultimately would mean, Sarah, is if, say, Mike leaves the room now, it means we'd have to flip that map card back and not be able to see it. Unless Mike gives the torch while he's in the same room to Hugo.
Yes, or Mike goes to the same room as Hugo. That would make sense.
But it just means that Hugo loses sight of the map, which means everybody effectively would do, unless Mike is in the room or a torch holder is in the room. What do you think on that rule?
It's a difficult one because it kind of puts you at a disadvantage, even though as a team you've got the torch and you've got the Wi-Fi and you've got the map.
So would you suggest the torch would have to be handed over?
It's
Why-
maybe
why don't we-
too early in the process to answer this question.
Yeah.
I didn't get the full concept yet, but maybe after the second round,
Yeah.
it make more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, should we crack on?
Yeah, well, let's just assume that we've got some kind of technology that sends photons via Wi-Fi at the moment then.
Or we could just assume that once Hugo has seen the map,
He
Hugo
memorises
remembers it.
Yeah.
Let's assume for now that Hugo memorizes the map then, because
Yeah.
it's not that complex a map. So
Yeah.
we've got access to the map now, so feel free to have a chat about the map anytime you want, but people can't take map-related actions unless they can see it or unless they can call the map holder to get information from them. So you can talk about it, but you can't do actions based on it. Far away.
So right now, Hugo and I can talk about the map, right?
Yeah, essentially you could take a map related action now whilst you're on the go and you're sharing the same room. But I wouldn't suggest that other players would then carry the map in memory when they go to other rooms, because it just starts to get really complicated then.
Yeah.
So that's why the Wi-Fi becomes really powerful in that regard. But anybody can talk about the map now whilst you're trying to figure things out, but you just can't take actions based on it unless you can see it.
Okay.
Sure. So what does this mean though? Now that the WC is highlighted in the map, what does that mean? Does that mean that if anyone wants to escape through the WC, they can, or?
Maybe that'll become clearer if we start flipping the other mana guides. Now that you've accessed one, I said you can flip the others on the stack if you want to, but just leave them on the stack because they're not active in the game. So that might be helpful, but it'll become more helpful later on when certain other things happen. I don't want to give you all the answers.
Yeah.
Sure.
You can flip the other 5 mana guides if you want to be able to reference them when you're looking at the map that you're actually using. They're all on the top, so the mana guides are on the top of them, I think, unless we've clicked next and sent any to the bottom.
So I can't.
You flip the circle. So on the mana guide,
okay.
just flip the circle on the top right of the card. You can flip it over.
Okay, I'm allowed to do that because I have the torch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've already effectively accessed the mana guide now. It means you can flip the other mana guides on the stack and be able to do a bit of comparing and contrasting if you want to.
Okay.
So if that's the only one on the top, that means the other 4 on the bottom of the stack, because it just rotated around. We haven't shuffled that stack.
Sure. So should I take this out of the stack, or should I just leave it?
So leave those ones on the stack, otherwise it will get confusing because we can't put them back. And they're not active.
Okay.
They're just there as a point of reference, really, to be able to say, well, how does this one compare to our map that we're using on the tabletop? Is there something different about it?
Yeah, so the difference, the rooms are in the same order, aren't they? But there's a difference in the symbols, where the symbols are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like, I mean, I might be spoiling it all here, but it looks like we need to get those symbols into those places, but probably for the map we're using. So somehow a triangle needs to be in the lobby or something, however that happens. Star needs to be in the bar and so on. And then we can escape out of the room that's highlighted.
I'm not going to give you the answers. You guys can keep talking. But
well, that's my halfpenny's worth.
But if you,
I think maybe we commit it to memory and then we continue, or then later something may pop up.
Yeah, and feel free to discuss the problem of escaping at any point during the game.
Yeah.
Well, I think whose go are we on at the moment? Was it Layla's go or Mike? We're on Mike's go.
Mike's go.
Mike hasn't done stack 2 yet, I don't think.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I can leave this. Should I close this back?
You can leave that. That's fine. You can leave the leave it flip. You just can't flip any other cards at the moment on the stack other than the mana guides, because you've already activated the live mana guide on the tabletop. And then you select the stack bar. You can either give it a shuffle or just drag the top card off. As I said earlier, if you pick the stack bar again, we'll condense them up if you don't want them shooting off across over the top of all the other cards. And then basically just drag it onto the tabletop. And when that area lights up, then you know you can drop it onto the tabletop. So you can let go now, it'll drop to the bottom right, and then just drag it to anywhere you want and flip it over. You will all start getting a bit more used to it as we go on. So that places that zombie in your room. So that zombie will join Hugo and Mike.
So either of us can use our gun, or should I be the one who does it?
Yeah, so essentially you've both got guns, so it's down to you to discuss between the two of you what you're going to do about that zombie. So the zombie goes over to your room, and then it's like, well, what are we going to do about the zombie then?
So may I ask? So Hugo can interact even if it's not his turn, just because they're in the same room.
Yeah, if you thought about it as though it's real life, you're both in the same room, and the zombies just come in there. So you know, Mike might ask Hugo for help if Mike had kind of less guns. The one thing that's special about your gun card, Mike, because the sorry, I'm just calling you by the character names. It's easier for me.
It's okay. Yeah, sure.
But when there's an admit on Corrado, Sarah.
Yeah, that Corrado.
On that gun card for you, Mike, that effectively counts as 2 cards. So you just need to. It's only on this one particular gun card because it just gave us space to not have too many cards in your stash and be able to put the torch in the game.
So basically, it's a double barreled shotgun, is it?
Yeah, it's a double use card. You can have a gun for 2 and a gun for 4 just off that one card. Just keep in memory which one you've used. It won't be there for that long anyway.
So can I suggest that we use Hugo's gun to get rid of the zombie so we can keep the special card?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Your special card.
Do you not want to use the 2 on your special card?
You could use your gun for 2, yeah, and you've still got your gun.
Okay.
So
how do I do that?
Discharge 1 barrel.
Yeah, so at the moment, that's the only card in this entire game that's actually got the 4+2 because it's just helpful at the setup. So just keep in memory that you've used the 2 bullet gun and you've still got the 4.
Oh, okay, I got it. So I just have to discard the zombie.
And you're both safe.
And we are both safe, and now it's the next player's turn.
Yeah, it's the next player's turn. So I will now go to Gwen, and Gwen is. I haven't written your name down.
Yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. So I'm just going to find you. There we go, Norhan. So you've got control now. So I'd say go to the scroll bar on the far right, scroll up a bit. That's it. And then you click the stack bar.
Okay.
So once it goes blue.
First stack.
Yep. So you've got the stack. You just shuffle it. And that gives you your option, and that gives you the option to go left or right, 1 space. So lobby, or left of the lobby, or right of the lobby. So you take your player card. So you take your Gwen card, move it to either the lobby, the kitchen, or we've agreed now that you could place it in toilets if you wanted to. So that's about you deciding, well, what's the best play with that? Where's the best place for me to go? And that then becomes more relevant as the game goes on and it gets harder.
Okay, maybe I will join Hugo and Mike.
Strength in numbers.
Excuse me?
So yeah, you drag your card over, plonk it on top of the other 2.
Okay. Like this.
And then it's on to stack 2. So basically, any player has a go. It's always worth looking at the players' cards that they've got in their stash piles as well, just in case there are any actions, any team actions that you can do. I see you give a shuffle, drag a card off, plonk it on the tabletop, and then flip it over. That's it. Brilliant. So the card you've just dropped on the tabletop is now at the bottom right of the tabletop. You just drag it, flip it, and then take an action based on it. So you've got a gun there. So as I said earlier, you can have up to 2 guns in your stash pile, maximum of 5 cards in your stash pile. So it's just a case of, am I going to keep this gun and get rid of another one? Or if you're already happy with the guns you've got, you just discard that. Or if you're sharing a room with somebody and they've got less guns than you, then they might appreciate the gun being given to them.
Okay. Maybe I will give it to Mike.
Yep. So in fact, just discarded then, and my card he's got there is now double card again.
Your
That
voice
makes
is
sense. He's got
lagging.
4+2.
Could you please repeat this?
Yeah, I was just saying, if you're going to give it to Mike, then Mike's already used his gun 2, so you could just discard that card, and we'll just assume Mike's got both of those guns that are on that card again, if you want. I'm talking too much. You guys decide.
Okay, so Mike and Hugo.
Yep. So Mike or Hugo.
No, I mean, guys, what do you think?
I think we'll do what Darren suggested. You can discard your card, and we can assume that my 4+2, the 2 is active.
Okay.
That's it. So blue box around it means you can discard it.
Okay.
Are there any other actions that Gwen can do that can happen on that go? Probably not.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Unless you wanted to just look at the fronts of any of those cards in stack 3, maybe have a look at the map.
I can choose one from here, right? From stack 3?
No, you can only pull a card out of there if you've solved a puzzle to pull it out now, because we've already pulled out or potentially the Wi-Fi. But you can look at them just to understand the symbols and compare the symbols to the maps if you wanted to look at the other cards, just to gain an understanding of symbols that you need in order to earn the cards. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to, or you can have a look through them if you want, but your go in itself is done, unless you wanted to just have a nose through them.
Okay, so I will ask my neighbors in the same room. My roommates. Guys, what do you think?
I think you're okay just to end your turn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, in which case I'm going to move over to, is it Mike next? Who's got, Rishi was Saeed, wasn't it?
Yes.
Go to Saeed.
It was a great suggestion by Ray to you can rename yourself in.
Oh
in
yeah,
Zoom.
I just seen that.
Right.
Oh, that would be really helpful. Yeah. So you've got control now.
Let me see. Okay, and
so select the stack bar. So make the bar on the right turn blue. I think there's just a bit of a lag. So once if you click on the stack 1.
okay.
So, and then now it's gone into color, you know that stack is active. Give it a shuffle. That's the button at the bottom. Give that a shuffle. And now you've got the gym, but those symbols at the bottom are only relevant for dead players. So you literally have to go to the gym.
Okay. So
you place Rishi in the gym, and then stack 2.
And then takes a second. Okay.
Then you can. It's entirely up to you. You can pull the top card off, or you can shuffle it.
I would like to ask what's the point of shuffling these cards? They all look the same.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay,
maybe I just set a rule that when they've all been shuffled at the start, you just take the top card every time.
Okay, and then I flip it by clicking on the circle, right?
Correct.
Okay,
and then drag it into play.
Yeah, as I understood, I only can have 2 of these cards, so
yeah, correct.
It doesn't make any sense because I have one with 2 and one with 4, correct. So I would get rid of this one. Correct?
Yeah, so I think you have to drag it onto the table to discard. I should put it on stack. It used to, but something has gone a bit wrong with that lately.
So it's blue.
Will it let you? We'll see what happens. Click discard and we'll see what happens. No. Okay, pull it onto the tabletop and discard it.
Okay.
That's it. Once you get the little plus symbol, you know you can drop it and then just discard. Oh, the blues disappeared. Deselected.
Yeah, it's a little bit laggy and I'm impatient. That's the point. And discard it.
Brilliant. So,
So
and then it would be a case of, are there any other kind of player-based actions with the team members, which in this particular case, not really, because Wi-Fi is not active and there are no other special cards in your player stash. So that's kind of the maximum that you could probably do on your go at the moment, unless again you wanted to talk to your team members about anything else that's on your mind during the game, or if you wanted to look at any of the fronts of the cards on stack 3.
sorry guys, I was no big help at all.
So now everybody's had a go. It's getting up to 6:15. Do we want to try and just like everybody have a really quick other go without too much comment, and then we've got time for sort of questions and comments at the end? Is that
I'll try and keep my mouth shut a bit more, and I'll just try and focus more on handing remote control over, and my list I've got in the wrong order, so I'm just going to
so let's see if we can each have a go in under a minute.
So we're going over to Hugo now, which is Ray. Yep. So I'm just going to select Ray. Where's Ray gone? There's Ray. Oh, brilliant. It's labeled up as Hugo. You'll go, Ray.
Got it. And I'm just going to clean up my deck a little bit so it's easier to see. There we go. All right. Yeah. All right, so I'm heading to the toilets, it looks like. With the option, so it looks like toilets with the option to go either way. So I think actually I will move to the toilets and then use the 1 to stay right where I'm at, since there's the whole strength in numbers thing. And sorry, I've just managed to cover up everybody else. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. And now I need to flip a card. Okay, a gun. I would definitely like a gun. So I'm going to add that to my hand. Sorry, just doing a little more cleanup.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
And okay, I think I am done, and it's over to Ellie.
Can I say, just before you move on, you're currently in the lobby and there's a symbol on the lobby. Sometimes it's worth thinking, what is that symbol for on the lobby while I'm in there? So especially when you're also thinking, I need to get the Wi-Fi activated.
Oh, the symbol is a triangle.
Yeah, it's a triangle. Mike, Gwen, any ideas? I got nothing.
Yeah, me neither. I think, can you, since we are in the same room and I have a torch, I think you can open one of the other manner guides.
Sure. So in that one, the triangle is in the bar.
Yeah.
But I'm still not.
What's on the Wi-Fi card?
Okay, let me take a look.
So maybe select stack 3 on the bar, and then find the Wi-Fi card and just have a look at the front of it. You might need to scroll down a little bit just so you can see the bottom of the card and the top of the card, and just to identify from the symbols on the Wi-Fi card.
I think Wi-Fi cards are at the end.
Because the Wi-Fi.
So there are shapes on some of the cards then, so we need to sort of have those items and go to the appropriate room with those items. So that special weapon there has got a star on it.
I think your Wi-Fi card's under the top mana guide, isn't it?
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
There is a triangle there. A star,
Yeah.
a triangle.
we need either.
What does
Oh,
it
I
say
think-
between the symbols? Is it? I can read it.
Ah.
Is it
Star or triangle.
Triangle.
What's
To
that?
unlock.
To unlock.
Uh-huh.
And I think since you're in the lobby and you have the triangle, I think you can unlock it. Am I right, Darren?
Yep. So you can
Alright,
pull
so
that
unlock.
card out.
So what allows us to pull the Wi-Fi out?
Because you've satisfied the symbols at the top, because you're in the lobby, and the lobby has the triangle. So you've satisfied the symbol at the top. You're in the lobby, which means if you flip the
Okay.
card, it will explain. So drag the card onto your player stash. So you've got the Wi-Fi. Let's just have a read of that card, so somebody else can read it.
Players can now call others
Room to
room for help to battle zombies. If help can find the way, also a torchlight. If help can find the way, I don't know.
So that comes back to that rule I explained earlier, that to get somebody quickly to help you, they need to have a torch.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like this, we just now understand this, and the card itself should be discarded. So we
You could get rid of it if you wanted. You don't need to have that card now. You know you've got the Wi-Fi activated.
Okay.
There's only one Wi-Fi card, right?
There's only one Wi-Fi card. You've just fixed the router, so you can all speak to each other now and call each other to rooms and access map information.
Got it. Okay, so now I believe my turn is done, and I will hand to Ellie.
Okay, so going over to Ellie.
Yes.
So
Abhishek here, yeah.
right.
Ellie here, yeah.
I'm on remote control. Ellie. Ellie has control.
Okay, fine. So I'll just stack one. Wait, I'll just go to stack one.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll shuffle.
Yep.
Stack. And I got kitchen again, and there's a zombie in the kitchen.
Okay, so we know there's one zombie in there already,
Okay.
because that card says so. So you stay in the same room and then stack two.
Okay, so I'll have to kind of go to the next stack.
Yep.
Drag a card out. Sorry,
Look.
sorry about this.
Yep, and then onto the tabletop with the card.
Yeah, just yeah.
Yep.
So
Just takes a bit of getting used to, doesn't it?
I got a zombie.
So you pull that zombie into your room as well.
Yeah, okay. I have only one gun, so yeah. So I have a zombie. There one. It's okay. This is a zombie of value 1. So
There. So what other actions could you take other than shooting the zombie?
I can ask for help. Now, since we can talk, I can ask for help maybe
From who?
from. I can ask from help from Mike, I think, because Mike would be beside, I mean, close to where I'm standing. Oh, sorry, Laila, I think.
Only Mike's got a torch.
Okay. Oh, we need the torch, right? Okay, so yeah, I'll ask help from Mike.
So you can take my gun, the 2. I have a 2 gun.
Okay, cool. So I have to discard both the.
But
So
don't
this
discard-
zombie that is the zombie that is
discard-
in the kitchen.
So you leave the location there, because that's just, we'll change that anyway shortly. So you discard the zombie,
Okay.
and then you've killed both of those zombies now. But we can't discard Mike's card because he's got another gun on the same card.
Yeah, so I have to
Yes.
discard my card.
But Mike needs
Not-
to be. No, you don't need to discard your card.
No, you don't need to discard it.
But Mike needs to be placed in the same room.
Oh,
Okay.
Mike's just joined you.
Mike, don't leave us.
So the Wi-Fi allows people to move from room to room as well by being called, yes?
By being called for battle against zombies, if you've
Okay.
got if they've got a torch. If they haven't got a torch, they can't come.
Oh, okay, I see.
I have one question. It shows this one zombie in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then I had picked up a card and from the stack 2 and it gave a zombie. So
Yeah.
does that mean there were at that point there were 2 zombies?
Yeah, so at that point there were 2 zombies. So we would discard the one that's a card, but obviously the one on the location stack, we'd just be shuffling that again now. We just assume it's dead because you've used the gun to kill it.
Okay, so you can kill. So effectively, those zombies are so weedy that a bullet has gone through one zombie and hit the other zombie as well.
It was a gun
That's
for
true.
2. It was a gun for 2 and 2 zombies for 1, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
you had 2 bullets in that gun. You shot one, and then you shot the other.
Oh, okay. So that's that 2 is not a bullet as such. It's the total number of zombies you can kill, or the total
No.
value of zombies you can kill.
You base it on the zombie strength.
Okay.
So if you've got a zombie for 3 and a zombie with a strength of 3 and a zombie with a strength of 1,
Yeah.
you need your weaponry total to equal the same to be able to kill them both.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, it's not a bullet. It is total killing power of that gun.
In essence, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then any other actions, or do you want me to move on to the next player?
Yeah,
So we go to the stack 3. Is there any other option? I mean, I don't know. So I go to stack 3 or check.
Yeah. Shall we? I know that Frank Zappa's got to leave. A hard stop in a while, so I'll take over.
Okay.
And I don't know what time it is now. It's getting sort of.
It's nearly half.
It's
Yeah. So shall we stop here? Is that okay with everybody? And have 5 minutes maybe.
Okay, so my first massive learning is about the rules early on and getting things really clear.
Yeah.
Well, let me just put that really clear at start.
And I think actually you could really simply state some of the rules in terms of the gameplay, in terms of the idea that actually your go is first you take from stack 1, then you take from stack 2.
Yeah.
Which it's just a really, really easy way of explaining what you did earlier. So that's kind of something. But I think I'm with Ray. It's really unclear as to when you can pull from stack 3, how that works.
I'm just writing all this down, so make it.
well, to start from the beginning, I would start by clarifying what's the main goal of the game and what is needed to get to that goal.
Right, I'm listening as you go. I'm writing things down. So
Just to answer you, Corrado, it's his own platform, and part of what we're doing is looking at how that platform works. So it's a proprietary platform.
yeah, so this essentially is the biggest stretch game that I've put on the platform, because most of it's kind of coaching cards and some easier games and simpler kind of training things. So this is the biggest stretch in terms of movement of cards around and the amount of cards that are on screen and things. So for me, it's about how can I make it as simple as possible, but still maintaining lots of kind of gameplay as well.
Mm-hmm.
So start by clarifying on the objective. Okay, got that.
I would add to this. I don't know if this was Sarah already said, some visual aids for the rules, some simple bullet points. First click on stack 1, take the first card, choose which room to go, then go to stack 2, and so on and so on. Just to have some visual aid would make the introduction a lot shorter and much more understandable, I guess.
Yeah, by either adding, I agree to that, by either adding I don't know, text or some other visual cues on the board, or just by, since this is digital, by adding tooltips. When you hover the mouse over the stack, for example, it tells you what to make a suggestion of what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
Is it?
I would like,
Sorry, carry on, Avisha.
so also I would like to say that regarding the symbols, since the symbols are also important, there can be some color coding. So say for example here there's a balloon sign here which unlocks it, or there's a torch sign. So those could have some color, and you can have some color coding. So it's very easy to just at a glance you can notice. You don't have to stretch your eyes to kind of notice.
Yeah.
On which bit? Sorry, I was writing then. Which bits were you
So
pointing
basically,
at?
like in some of these stack 3 cards, you have these symbols like a torch symbol to see this, or a balloon. This is a balloon, I'm assuming, some sort of a rose or a balloon. This is some symbol
Wine
to unlock
glass.
it. Okay, I said okay, wine glass. Okay, sorry, yes, it's too small. Okay, sorry, yeah. So maybe you can have these symbols could have some color coding, so
Okay,
that when you look at a card, the first thing you notice are the colored areas. So
Yeah.
they could actually have some color coding to make it even more noticeable and more recognizable.
Yeah, brilliant. So on
Is it part of the learning or part of what people have to do that they have to work out that there are symbols on the cards in stack 3? Or
yeah, that's the kind of point to it, that it's figuring out, well,
okay.
how are these symbols relevant to?
Well, no. What I mean is it part of the learning that they have to work out that there are symbols at all on those cards? Because it's not really obvious that when you're in the lobby, that what you should then do is be looking through stack 3, looking for a triangle. But
Right.
if that isn't part of it, so I'm not explaining this very well. If it's not part of the learning that you have to work out that the symbols are in that stack, if you could be told that they're in that stack, then that would make life a lot easier.
Yeah. So
Because it's sort of like you said, I couldn't work out when you said, oh, now you've activated the Wi-Fi, and it's sort of like, how? And it's sort of like, because you've met the requirements. And if you can explain that, what you need to do is meet the requirements for the room, or meet the requirements to pull things out from stack 3. If you could say that as rules, if it's not part of the learning you're trying to bring out, then that would be really useful.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Because I was thinking about that when people were saying, well, does that mean we have to put a triangle into the lobby? And I was thinking,
yes, because I was thinking, where do I get the triangle from?
yeah.
And in addition to that, if there's only one Wi-Fi card, why is it hidden somewhere in the deck or in this deck? It could be somewhere obvious, so everybody could see it, and we would have maybe understood it from the beginning, or there are symbols, and it would make more sense, I guess.
Would it just make more sense with the Wi-Fi card if I just had it on top of that stack? So it was the first card that comes up on top of the stack, so people can see those symbols. And
maybe you can make like a frame here, a small box on the board itself, and it will be there all the time.
okay.
Or just as a background picture, that doesn't need to be a physical card. We can do anything with it.
I mean, even because you had the cards at the beginning, so maybe you could have that as a separate a guide to the symbols as a card. So literally you have a card which, when you turn it over, it just says Wi-Fi triangle. I don't know, what were the other things? Special weapon star. So at least people will have had sight of the symbols, and they'll realise the importance of the symbols.
Or put it in stack 4, for example. That's as the only card, just a single stack only for the Wi-Fi card, if it's technically easier.
That's really useful, yeah. Brilliant.
I'm gonna have to leave now. So
thank you so much.
Thanks very much for coming, Antonis. It's really nice to see you.
I also have to leave, Darren. I apologize.
Why don't we take a picture, all of us, before you guys leave?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to turn my video on.
I'll stop the share and get rid of that.
Yeah, you need to stop the share.
It's a good idea, Norman.
Thank you. I said it yesterday, but you did not send us the phone.
Yeah, I haven't. So Terry sent me all the stuff, because I couldn't make it yesterday, because on Monday, because I had to go to hospital. Anyway, long story. I'll go into it at some other point.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll be putting all that on Ludagogy, and I'll send that to you if you want the screenshot.
Yes, please.
Okay, I've printed the screen.
Can I just ask a quick question, actually, with regards to the rules? Would it be really helpful if there was a button, like in that bottom bar, that gave you immediate access to the rules? You had to like click in and check things if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Couldn't
that would
hurt.
be really useful.
as long as the rules in this case are just bullet points to serve as reminders.
Yeah, I mean, there's so often when you've got a board game where you do literally get a card with a summary of all the rules or a summary of the round and how each player plays the round. So creating some cards would, for people who play games, that would be very normal for them, and for people who don't, it would be a lovely little reminder.
Right, I'm having a test in 10 minutes. So
Bye.
ciao. See you in the
See you
next
soon.
round or whatever.
Cheers.
Thank you.
I was thinking instead of the bar in the bottom with the shuffle and discard, maybe for the user experience side, it could be like a movement. When you just click on the deck, it shuffles, or and then you can get the card out when you pull it and stuff like that. I believe user experience wise, it would be better if it's not just the bar in the bottom.
Yeah. So actually, to try and integrate it into the use of the stacks themselves easier.
Yeah. Would look better. I have a question. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I was about to say that may have to come in version 2 once I've released it and then upgrade it to develop it. But that's definitely something that should be done. I agree with that totally. Go on. Question?
Yeah. Question about the maximum number of people to be in each room. Is there a maximum?
Well, when the decks are being used, you mean, or this particular game?
In the game, yeah.
So there's a maximum number of players for the game is 6. The minimum number of players is 4. So if there were more people, essentially, in future, I'd need to find a way to be able to open different sessions and subgroups, which is something I'm looking at for version 2, which will probably be 6 months away or something. But to be able to create different
I mean in
sessions.
each room, yeah. For example, we have the toilet, we have the kitchen, and players can move around. Is there a maximum number?
I thought you meant Zoom rooms then. No, there's not a maximum number of players per room in the actual hotel.
Okay.
So Corrado was just asking about IpsoDeckso. That's not up and running yet, is it? So
no, it's not up and running yet. To be honest with you, it is a point of frustration because it should be up and running by now based on the lead times that I had with a developer. But as you probably know, when you're working with developers, things happen. You make certain changes and it can have knock-on effects onto other things. So I'm hoping to get it released as soon as possible. My intention was that it would already be released, so it's just a case of how long is a piece of string as to how long it's going to take to just fix the few last bits that need to be done, and then that'll be kind of the minimum viable product, which has got like 56 card decks on at the moment. All the others are easier to use than the one we've just used. This was my biggest stretch so far. And then there'll be like different levels as well. There's like a bronze, silver and gold and different amounts of card decks that you can access, and from bronze upwards you can build your own card decks as well. So
I was just about to say that your ultimate goal is to allow people to implement their own card decks on that platform.
Yeah, which they'll be able to do as soon as it's launched. You'll be able to build the 4 stacks yourself. You'll be able to import your own templates that you've created in Canva or whatever and just create your own card decks on there. There'll be no limitation as to how many card decks you can create, regardless of whether you're in bronze, silver or gold as well. So the only limitation is that you've got 4 stacks of cards and you could probably have about 100 cards in each stack if you wanted to. And then later I'll look to add more like counters and changing the background and things like that, so you can start creating your board games and things like that.
Did you want to leave some contact details, Darren, in case anybody wants to get back with you, when they've had time to reflect with further feedback or anything?
Yeah, shall I put it in the chat? Shall I put my email address in the chat?
Yeah.
So we've got.
Yes, we have a couple of us have already added, following Norhan, our LinkedIn profile, so maybe we can be in touch on that.
Yeah, I won't put mine in because I think I'm linked in with everybody here anyway.
Yeah, but not as Sean's mum.
No, well, I'm living my Shaun of the Dead fantasy with all this zombie stuff going on, you see. Although Barbara does get killed, doesn't she, in Shaun of the Dead? So maybe I shouldn't be Sean's mum. Maybe I should be somebody who survives to the end. Liz, maybe.
No spoilers, haven't seen it yet.
Have you not?
No, it's not my kind of
Come
movie. It's too silly.
It's exceptionally silly, but it's a very good movie.
Maybe I will watch it today. I have a further question. How long would you think a round would take? Is it like Monopoly between 1 hour and 24 hours, or is there a maximum? Or don't you have any expectations or experiences yet?
You mean to get through this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've tested it myself a good few times, and I've completed it in 90 minutes, in 2 hours, and I've played a good number of times where I've died in about 30 minutes. So it can vary from sort of 30 minutes up to about 2 hours. I did a test play with a group of 5 of my friends a couple of weeks ago, and we completed it in just under 2 hours. But I must admit, I think I managed to explain the rules a lot better to them than I managed to do tonight. I don't know if I was just kind of a little bit panicky or something because I didn't know, or so I did, because those intro cards at the start, when I did those with my friends, I was able to just explain a lot better. And so I just think I just need to really tie those rules down as well, and just those bullet points, and make things a lot clearer for people. And then I think with some of the suggestions you've made today as well about creating some guide cards that could potentially be in stack 4 that people could just check on if they wanted to as well, would be
just
really
imagine we are your friends, if it makes it any easier.
I was just a bit scared at the start.
No problem.
We're all pretty friendly. No, none of us bite.
I just have a few more little recommendations I would give you. I can't see the card deck at the moment, but I was struggling at. It would be better if you put anything on the card that's that I need to play the card on the bottom. Like for example, on the cards, the face is on the button, but not the name. So if you stack the 6 cards, one of the top of the other, I can't see the name. So I don't know who's. Do you understand what I mean? You don't see whose stack is belonging to who after a while. Maybe if you flip back to the share the screen, I can explain it a lot better. In my expect, not yet. Not yet.
Bear with me. And just get back.
I'm not good in explaining either, but my English is horrible.
There we go. So it should be popping up in a second.
Yeah, give it a second. Okay, if you look at stack the kitchen bar at the bottom, I only see the blonde lady, but I don't know who she is. And at the top, I see only the name Ellie. I suggest Ellie is the blonde lady at the bottom, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So actually, so if I did say, for example, on those bigger player cards at the top where you've got the bigger faces, would it be better if I reduced the face size and put it up by the name so you could see them? So when they overlay, see, well, that's the image of the person that matches the one at the bottom, and
that's what. Yeah.
Do the same on the cards at the bottom.
Just like on normal playing cards, if you play poker or something, you have always the dice, what is it called, the spades or the hearts at top left. So and the number is on the other side. It's the important information. The same for the bottom. Make the face smaller and put the name on the right or the left. And the same for the other symbols. I don't know, you said, okay, oh, you have the torch card. I didn't see anything because the symbol is not on the bottom. And if there's another card on top of it, I can see which card it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah, I was thinking the same comment. Thank you, Said, for saying that. I mean, when you are stacking cards, if you leave an area, and Sarah knows that I used to play with stacked cards. Okay, so I made some design on that. And eventually, if you need more space, you can also stack the cards both vertically and horizontally. So maybe you can have more space for the icons. And without using all the space on the table. Because another point that I can see, I joined later to the session, so just observing, is that the space is really crowded. So or you reduce the card, but in this way you decrease the readability of the card. I mean, you have to organize. You could organize the space maybe differently. But however, what the comments from Said was exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah, because that would really help. Because this is definitely the one game that I've got within the whole system that's got an absolute plethora of cards being put into quite a small space. So yeah, anything like that can help with the playability is good.
This is similar to the rooms. If you put the symbol of the room right at the top and make the font smaller would be my suggestions. Yeah.
The other problem that you have is because if you're playing this via Zoom, you have absolutely no control over the view that other people have chosen. So if people choose the standard view, then then the cards are readable. But if they choose gallery view, your bit is so tiny. So that's another issue. Do you have the option to change the size of cards?
I will do. I've asked the developer to add it. So whether or not he adds it, I think what will probably happen is we'll launch the minimum viable product. And whilst that's being, because I'll launch it to begin with for probably about 30 testers that will just be using it and kind of testing stuff. And whilst that's going on, he's going to be working on the zoom in, zoom out part. Yeah,
because I'm thinking like the cards that are actually used to say who's in which room, they could really be reduced to the size of a token almost, couldn't they, with just the name and a very small version of the,
potentially,
if that's possible, so that they could be kind of a quarter of the size, so like almost like a bar instead of a full card.
Oh, I understand. So you mean a different size to the other cards on the page?
Well,
that I won't be able to do for a while. That'll probably be a later version, but again that would make sense as well.
Because some of them could be reduced quite a lot. So the room cards, for example, could be pretty much reduced again to a kind of a bar rather than a full side card, because all you really need to know is the name of the room, the symbol.
That's it.
And even the same with the player cards, the 6 player cards that are purple at the top. Could be.
That's what I meant. I was talking about. They could be reduced to tokens, couldn't they? Almost.
Also color coded. Like I don't know who said it before. They don't have to be all purple. So as you see, green is Peter, and I don't know, red is Tom or Sarah or whoever. Also, I don't know if you see it, if you're looking directly at the platform when we are playing over Zoom, depending on my screen and the quality, the fonts are hard to read. It may look cool if you look directly on the platform, but if you're sharing your screen, it's very hard to read what it says. So maybe I'm a font that is clear. It doesn't have to be Arial or something like that, but something like this more readable to the audience.
Which actually on virtually all of my other card decks I've done. I tried to do it with this one because it's kind of a zombie thing. I thought it worked, but I'll have a look at that one, because that would make sense as well.
Aesthetically, it does work really well with the zombie theme, but I think just the limitations of an online platform. I think if they were actually physical cards, it wouldn't be a problem at all.
But and that's the other thing, isn't it? That if it was physical cards, they'd also be slightly bigger. I'd be able to
be bigger,
arrange the information in another way too.
And you'd probably have a bigger table to play on as well.
I have a very quick question. But do you plan to make the card version of the game, not only digital?
What I was planning on doing is, once the whole system is launched and I've started getting members on board, I'll be able to monitor which decks are being used more frequently and which become more popular. And then I was planning to get sort of hard copies printed of the more popular ones and kind of build from there, so that people could, so members would get discounts to decks. If they're if they're a gold member, they get more discount to the hard copy and do it that way, and then just make them available to people. So eventually that's the plan, but I need to walk before I can run. But I think this would be eventually quite a cool one to do for a hard copy once all the elements are sorted out.
No, I'm asking because actually with my last game, I have a dozen of testers with the card version of the game. Yeah. And it's easier to distribute. I mean, with print and play, you can distribute the cards and the rules, and actually the mechanics can be tuned live, even if it's in remote space. Okay, that's why I'm asking. However, sorry, Said, please go ahead. Please.
Just two more points before I forget them. One, I thought about if you have a little frame where to put the card I pull from the stack. Just an outline somewhere on the table, so everybody knows. Okay, when I pull a card from stack 2, here's where I have to put it. It's a perfect space so that it doesn't overlap any other cards or anything like that.
A sort of mapping feature.
If it can lock in there, would be greater. But if it's not possible, just a white frame in the size of the card, so everybody knows. Okay, here's the perfect place to pull the card over before I put it on my stack. Would be helpful. And I didn't get the concept of shuffling cards at all. Even at stack 2, it doesn't, to me, no offense, it doesn't make any sense because all the cards look the same. I don't know what's behind them, so take the first one, would be okay. Even on stack 1 for the rooms, why not just take the first card that's there? So if it's my turn, I already know, oh, I have to go to the kitchen, so maybe I can prepare for it, or or the other place would see the next step if it makes any sense.
Yeah, I think the thing to remember, Rishi, is this, what we were testing today is not only this game, but also the platform. So the functionality to shuffle might be useful for, I agree with you, it probably wasn't particularly useful for this game, but it might be useful for other games to be able to shuffle. So,
which it is.
That's why the functionality's there.
It's not about killing the functionality, but in the introduction, if you explain the rules, you don't have to shuffle after every turn.
So it's not useful for this game, but it's
that's what I mean. Yeah, correct. Would it make more fluent and yeah.
The main reason, so on stack 1, the reason I did that as a shuffle thing is because on the stacks, on average, you can get about 100 in before it shoots off the side of the screen. So you kind of have a maximum amount of cards you can have in each stack, and the amount of times that you need to get a new card up for actually changing location through the game, the course of the game, would be too many new cards for the size of the capacity on the stack, if that makes sense. So that's why I did that way. I can't think of another way of doing it, because you do need something that sends you to the location, unless you could think of another mechanic that could change your location.
With you.
No. So at the moment, okay, so in stack 1, so it has to be shuffled to change it, to be able to send you to one of the other locations on the tabletop. So you have to have a shuffle there, unless you can think of another mechanic. Because if it was just a pile of cards and you just got a new card off the top every time, I would need probably 200 cards in that stack to be able to do that, because of the amount of times through the course of the game the players need a new location to be able to go to that new location. Am I being really confusing again?
Yeah. I think potentially it only needs shuffling once.
Stack 1. If I shuffled stack 1 once,
you don't pull the card off stack 1, so it makes sense. Otherwise, it would always be kitchen on top if you don't shuffle it, right?
Yeah. So I can't pull the card off because I would need probably 200 plus cards in that stack if I'm pulling cards off. When I don't have
Okay, I'm not understanding why the kitchen would always be on top.
Because you don't pull it off, it always stays there. We didn't use the kitchen card, that's why I understood.
Ah, yes.
So that makes sense. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Then it's just maybe for stack 2, you don't have to shuffle, just take the first card. Maybe that's the point.
Why not to use a dice for the rooms and another dice for the number?
Good call. Dice facility, I do plan to add at some point. I've got it on my list of things to add, so that there will be a dice facility. It won't be on version 1, but that's definitely a good thing to be able to add in. So I'm going to write it down anyway, because then I can remember when we get to a later version and I've got that functionality to add that, because that would be pretty cool. Brilliant. Anything else?
I really love the graphic. I don't know if you have
Yeah.
said, but I really love the graphic. It's pretty
cool.
close to the team.
But the graphic of the game, or just
the card,
Yeah.
the graphic
Yeah.
of the card.
And
Yeah.
the name is great. It's a very good wordplay. I like it. My kind
Yeah,
of
I love the
humor.
name too.
Yeah. I mean, I could really. It was a little bit frustrating we didn't get to play for longer, because I could see how it was starting to shape up as a really interesting game.
It does. It
so-
gets crazy. It gets
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for bringing it along.
Yeah, cool. No, I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate everyone coming along, because I know a lot of you have done quite a lot of playing games and things. So the ideas and suggestions that come in, a lot of it can be new to me, because I'm quite new to creating games, and I really appreciate the feedback. So that's awesome. I've got loads of post-it notes as well now.
So I've saved the chat as well, and obviously there'll be the video. So I'll probably send those to you straight away without bothering to edit them, so that you've got those for mining insights from Darren. But everybody else will have to wait until I've done a bit of editing. Lovely, everybody. So I shall sign off now and say good evening to you all, or good morning, or good night. I think it's good night for most people, isn't it? And good evening.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarah, if you can share the link for the video, because I missed the first part and I really want to watch it.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to post them up on LinkedIn, and then I'll share it on LinkedIn. But as you specifically asked, and anybody that attended the session, I will send it directly to them as well. Just so.
Thank you. And
Okay.
congratulations, Darren.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Thank you guys. It was very nice.
Look forward to
Thank
see
you
the
so
game
much.
live. Look forward to see the game live. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
enjoy your evening.
Bye.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you all. Bye bye.
Bye.